This is Valley News Live at 10.
It's an individual choice, it's an individual matter, and it needs to be left to families.
Good evening, everyone. Fallout continues after the Fargo School Board's decision to require masks for the upcoming school year. Hundreds of comments are flooding our Facebook page, and we're hearing from people on both sides of the issue.
Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd spoke with parents and the school board member, Dr. Tracy Newman, about what's next.
Actually, I think it's ridiculous.
Families take to the keyboard to voice their opinion as the Fargo School District becomes the only district in the area to require students and staff to wear masks. School board member Dr. Tracy Newman says it was based on data and science.
I'm feeling proud of our community. This was not an easy decision.
But Newman's vote is under fire on social media. The vote was 6-3, including her yes vote. But some parents say that shouldn't have counted due to a conflict of interest stemming from her position at Fargo Cass Public Health.
I just want to be very clear. I have no hidden agenda here. I have nothing to gain.
Newman says she was upfront about that. And if the board wanted to admit her from the vote, they could have made a motion to do that. But they didn't. Meanwhile, some parents think the school board is overstepping, saying masks are being used as medical devices, which require parental consent. The school board, the superintendent, no one has the authority to give medical consent on behalf of children except for parents. Newman says the decision follows the recommendation of Fargo Cass Public Health and the CDC, who she says they have always looked to for public health guidance before the pandemic.
If we don't vote to approve this by the board, if we don't follow the recommendations they're making, then what? Are we just selectively not going to take this guidance from people who have always guided us?
Some parents say when it comes to masking, yes. We need to get clear on who has the authority to turn a public health recommendation to a requirement.
I think you leave it up to the people, not to the public health officials.
I asked Schmidt why she thinks masks in school has become such a hot topic. Her answer, it's rooted in fear. People are scared, quite frankly. I mean, the fear is really at an all-time high right now. In Fargo, J.C. Dodd, Valley News Live.
The decision has some Fargo families going to extremes, several telling us they're fed up and packing their bags. One of those parents is Katie Stensgaard, who says while she doesn't know what she's going to do with her 4 kids yet, after deciding they won't be returning to Fargo schools.
Like, if you want to send your kids in a mask, that's great. I think you should have that right. But I think parents should also have the right to say, no, I've done my own research.
An aerial homeschooling group is holding an event tomorrow night for those unhappy with the district.
Other parents tell Valley News Live their kids will defy the rules and will not wear masks on the first day of school. Fargo Public Schools wasn't able to provide someone to talk with us today.
Let's turn our attention now to the weather, where the National Weather Service surveyed the damage from Monday night's storm. There were even reports of baseball-sized hail that night. And Hutch is here to tell us more about that damage. Hutch?
Thanks so much, Mike. Good evening, everyone. The National Weather Service actually went out where there was damage reported and discovered through 6 tornadoes hit that Monday night, anywhere between 6 and 11 o'clock at night. There's to track the little red reports there, tornadoes, and one up there in the northeastern corner of North Dakota. Here is a look at those storms as they made their way through. And at 7:16, things got started. This is in Towner County here, actually just a few miles off to the west of you in Starkweather. That's where the first tornado report was. That one an EF1. And then as the night continued, we saw some storms work their way across to the east-northeast. And this one reported in Griggs County at 8:34. This one basically was a brief touchdown caught on video. Then things got a little more serious. An EF2, the strongest of the night in the Sharon area. This is Grand Forks County as we headed through the evening hours. That one had a long track and did some damage to a farmstead. Buildings destroyed. Brief touchdown here of an EF1 in Grand Forks County as well. This wasn't far from Northwood. Now, as we go across the river into Polk County, there were a couple that were in northwestern Polk County near Davidson, and one just a little bit to the north of the Key West area, as these storms were a little weaker, still producing winds near 100 miles per hour all the way till 11 o'clock. We'll have hour-by-hour details on a few showers making their way in and how those are going to impact our day tomorrow as some changes are in the offing.
Let's hope they're wet.
And quieter than Monday.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
The West Fargo police officer who died back in May from a heart attack while on duty is being honored. The nonprofit organization .27 sent dog tag necklaces to the West Fargo police station for officers who served closely with Lieutenant Adam Gustafson. The organization also sent folded flag necklaces for Gustafson's family.
The bipartisan infrastructure package making its way through Congress could give wildland firefighters a raise of $20,000 a year. Federal wildland firefighters currently make as little as $13.45 an hour. The $1 trillion infrastructure bill would provide $600 million to increase the base salaries for Interior Department and Ag Department firefighters. Their yearly pay would increase by up to $20,000 or 50%, whichever is less. A nationwide alert was sent to some cell phones today as part of a test from the federal government's emergency alert system. So far this year in Minnesota, 72 of them have been sent. Amber and weather alerts quickly come to mind, but they also include curfew warnings. When a grain elevator caught fire in western Minnesota, neighbors got an alert to conserve water to ensure fire crews had an ample supply. The director of the Minnesota Emergency Communication Network says FEMA does not maintain a database of phone numbers, but used what he calls a blanketed approach to send out the test alerts.
Whether it be a missile attack or any other type of harmful activity, nefarious activity from another country or such, then that would be the time that the entire nation would be alerted.
If you'd like to opt out of getting test alerts from the federal government, log on to the FCC website for steps on how you can do that. You aren't allowed to opt out of actual alerts.
State data reveals 4% of North Dakotans struggle with a gambling addiction. That's almost 3 times the national average of 1.5%. Gambler's Choice is an addiction counseling program available through the Department of Human Services. Addiction counselors say they're worried the pandemic has worsened gambling problems.
People were finding other ways in which to gamble, and now that things have reopened and we're kind of emerging from the pandemic, we are seeing an increase in individuals coming forward looking for help.
The state legislature is also beginning a study on the impact of electronic pull-tab machines on gambling addictions. If you feel that you need help, you can find links to resources in this story on our website.
Moderna is looking for more than 70 children to be part of its vaccine study in Minnesota. Moderna is conducting the new trial on Minnesota kids ages 11 and under this week. Health experts say the dose for that age group is half of what the adults are getting. Some will get the vaccine, others will get a placebo. And the medical team will watch for side effects. So far, more than 800 people have signed up to be part of that study. People with compromised immune systems may soon be able to receive a COVID-19 booster shot. 2 sources familiar with the plan have said that the FDA is expected to amend the emergency use authorizations for the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to allow such patients to receive a 3rd dose. The move is expected to occur as early as tomorrow.
COVID hospitalizations have tripled across Minnesota just in the last month. There are more than 300 people hospitalized with severe infections, according to the Department of Health. Currently, Minnesota COVID cases have grown to 17 per 100,000 people, but the Mayo Clinic is forecasting that to double in the next 2 weeks. In North Dakota, there are 860 active COVID cases, which is double the number it was 2 weeks ago. 1 new death was reported today, increasing that total number to 1,543. Cass is the most impacted county with 218 active cases. 24 people are currently hospitalized in the state, with 2 in intensive care.
Now that the Canadian border is open for American travel, family members who haven't been able to see each other for a long time are finally reuniting. Marcia Benway, who's a North Dakota resident and a Canadian citizen, was able to see her family last month for the first time since the pandemic. With the border now open for Americans like her husband, she says they're both excited to come over.
We get back to North Dakota on Tuesday of next week, and then we're heading up Wednesday. We just want to get up there as soon as we can and see everybody.
Benway adds that she hopes to see the U.S. border open for her family, who plan to visit her in the States as soon as they're allowed to.
Still ahead tonight, scams come in all forms, how some people needing rental assistance are being victimized.
And if it can stay clear enough overnight, it looks like a pretty good night for that Perseid meteor shower, upwards of 70 meteors per hour during the peak, which is tonight. make sure that you get out and check that out. Another look at that sunset. I'll have your hour-by-hour forecast